Greetings and salutations, friend. My name is Jeremy Tank. I am an expert in behavioral branding, a master designer, and an RTT hypnotherapist. And I am coming to you today to wrap up this week, this wonderful, beautiful, rainy outside week. That's in Seattle. This is Pacific Northwest. It always seems to be raining outside. I grew up in Arizona, so this is always like a woo kind of thing for me. If you enjoy the content I've been posting, if you enjoy the videos that I do, the information that I share about the law of attraction, about how to train your mind and your subconscious mind to get yourself aligned and going in the right direction, and even the stuff I share about the quantum universe and how this stuff is all really connected, if you like this stuff, and you need someone to design your logo, to help you level up your brand, your business, to help you solidify some culture, create a vision for yourself, and actually start building the life that you want to build, then I invite you to check out www.thinktankcreative.net. That's my website. That's where I do my professional work. And when you are working with me. You are talking to me. We're talking about all of this kind of stuff, the same kind of stuff I talk about right here live, the same kind of stuff that comes to me. Boy, it's so much more effective when I have someone with me who is sitting down, who we are guiding through the process, asking the right questions, getting direction, finding alignment, and actually moving forward. So today's topic I wanted to talk about is, why are we all creators? And it's kind of funny in my head because this is a very woo-woo thing. And I grew up woo-woo. Like, my mom was very much a teacher in the spiritual realm, in the metaphysical community in both Southern California and in Arizona. And just before she passed in 2017, she was a huge influence across the U.S. and parts of Europe, actually, in just sharing the spiritual nature of the being, the spiritual nature of who we are, and how we can find joy in life. that was her big thing, was her spiritual community after she was an ordained minister was called a joy-filled life. It was really about creating, right, a point of orientation within your own life where you can see the things you want to go after and start taking those steps. And I was brought up with this philosophy. I was brought up with this mindset, although I got to be completely honest, I, for the longest time, didn't get it. And it was really something that went into my mom's mind, her cognition, when she was in her early 20s, which is when she left the standard Presbyterian sort of thinking of Arizona and moved to Southern California and joined, the hippies and the channelers and the metaphysical community out there. And she had met Louis Anthony Rousseau, who is a respected psychic and channeler and spiritual teacher. He's passed on as well now. And he changed the course of her life completely and opened her up spiritually, helped train her mind in positive ways of looking at the world, of looking at herself, of looking at, the things to move into, not just away from. And I didn't get that. I wasn't even born yet at that time, okay? So, we can kind of roll with this and understand. But there was always this background texture to our life that was, it's not just, how's your day? That's nice. Move on. It was, tell me about yourself. Tell me how your day was. Actually tell me. She wanted to listen. And she was like that with everybody, regardless of who they were, regardless of their background, regardless of everything. And I later learned that it was the way she taught herself to be open, empathetic, compassionate. When she became an ordained minister, she actually also started donating time to local hospices so she could speak with dying people. There's no better way to say that. And you're in hospice care, there's a good chance, a 90% chance, that you're not coming off of hospice care. And she loved going to these people, and it was a painful love, right? If you're doing something like that, you're doing it because you are really, truly giving of yourself to somebody else for their time, for their comfort, for their satisfaction. You are making space for them in a very difficult time. And she really loved sitting with these people and hearing their views. It wasn't about telling them her view. It wasn't about pushing anything that she believed on them. She just wanted to listen and provide space so that they could find their own clarity, their own comfort, their own safety, I think. So it was after my mom actually passed that I came back, and I've had to revisit a lot of these ideas. And I started with reading both of the books that she wrote. The first one being Journey of the Spirit Ones, and the second one being I'm Not Religious, I'm a Spiritual Person. And I think you can still find these on Amazon. I'm fairly certain they're still there. They publish, their automatic kind of Amazon press. And reading these after really doing my own little guided awakening, my own research journey, I had new insight into actually my mother's perspective, and it's from that perspective that I actually have come to realize that we don't know really anybody else. That there's an entire universe inside of you, an entire universe of thoughts and feelings, conglomerations of ideas, of creation, of destruction, of joy, of pain, of suffering, of desire. All of these things built in our lifetimes and generational and past lives. And, I believe in this stuff. And it's because, funny enough, it's not because of, the way I was raised, although that's part of it, but it's really because of what I've learned and read about quantum science, understanding the relationship of energy and matter within our world, within ourselves, and really, when I was learning about hypnotherapy, learning how the mind works, learning how the conscious and subconscious work together to present a unified front to the world and manage all of this, right? All of this that's going on. And so in that community, in the metaphysical community, in the woo-woo community, I hope nobody takes offense at that, because I'm just kind of playing. That's how a lot of people think of it, and then especially people around me. I'm not deep in that community right now up in the Pacific Northwest. I have a lot of people around me that are very fundamental Christian, that are Mormon, that are Jehovah's Witness. That's the place I'm living in, and I don't have a lot of connections with that community other than online. So that's fantastic. If you're watching this, thank you. And the thing is that we believe that we are creators. And we attribute a lot of that, unless, you might attribute this to different reasons for yourself and the way that you've seen the world, but I attribute that to really the law of attraction, right? What we focus on, where we put our energy, is what we create. What we focus on tends to be more of in our life. If we focus on the positive, we tend to get more positive, or whether we get it or not, we recognize it. And what I've learned is that the reticular activating system is actually a system, a subsystem in the brain, in the way that we process information, that says, this is something that's important. It basically puts a little tack in it. And every time something like that goes through our senses, sight, sound, touch, all that kind of thing, anytime something goes through that matches that little tack, it gets elevated in our consciousness, and our mind brings it to our attention. It goes from an unconscious point to a conscious point. And in a large way, that's a great, huge foundation for creating, right? Fantastic. I have a system, a thing in my brain, an idea that essentially is like a little tag, a flag that flies up every time I tell it, I want to pay attention to this sort of thing. And when I tell it, life is great, I feel fantastic, I am losing weight, my beard looks pretty good and full. I've gotten 2 compliments this week on my beard, and I'm like, I'm not really trying, so thanks. One was from my dad, which he's never grown a beard, so, I kind of figure it's beard jealousy or something from my father. It's kind of funny. Back on track, Jeremy. So what we focus on, if I'm saying all of these things, that my brain is hearing, this is the good stuff. This is the stuff I'm paying attention to with my conscious effort. This is the stuff that I hear and I resonate with. And so this programs my reticular activating system to recognize more of it in my life. What that means is that when you are walking into a room, your mind picks up approximately 10,000 different inputs. This is the best way I can say it. You're not a computer, but I mean 10,000 different inputs. You can notice the pictures on the wall, the color of the wall, the color of the carpet, the mirrors, the other people that are there, like all of these different things going on. And when your brain is told to highlight certain things of those, you basically place it in the top 40. Meaning, when you walk into that space, there are 10,000 things going on around you, and your brain prioritizes 40 that you actually see and take conscious notice of. The rest of it is still there. It's still in the unconscious. It is locked away in this maze, this mansion, this castle of information that you take in every time you notice something. And I say that that's like a memory palace. If you've seen Sherlock Holmes, if you understand that familiarity, memory palace is where you can sort of place different objects that you recognize or need to remember around your own self in a physical space in your imagination. And then you can walk that space and find those objects to recall the memories. This is a huge memory trick, huge mind training trick to remember anything. And so when I say castle, I mean every second of every single day, you are picking up, millions and millions of inputs, and your brain is storing it somewhere in there. You are really grasping and holding on to it. But what comes to your conscious mind is only about 40 at any given time, 40. And there's been case studies on this. There's been this fantastic case study where they put a $20 bill on the ground and they asked a whole bunch of people to walk into the restaurant, the bar. It was a public location where this $20 bill was on the ground, walk in through the door and sit at a table. And the people who had a positive mindset where anything can happen, where money flows easily into their life, where things are great and they are lucky and everything is absolutely tuned to their best effort, their best will, their best thoughts, their best energy, they walked in and more than half of them saw the bill on the ground. Picked it up. Guess what? You get to keep it. You did a case study. Congratulations, you get some money. But the people who came in and were like, I'm shit. Life sucks. Nothing's going my way. I'm not even sure why I'm here. None of them, 0%, saw that money on the ground. None. Now, in the quantum theory kind of realm, that is literally the observation of a thing creating it in that reality. To the people who did not see that money on the ground, it did not exist in their reality. And therefore, to their brain, their reality, their perception, the story they kept telling themselves, the negativity that persisted was absolutely accurate. Absolutely. Because they just don't see it. Literally, the brain would not prioritize something as good as free money. That's awful, right? Free money! I deserve free money. You deserve free money. Anytime you see free money, you will see it. You will start to see it all over the place, and you will start picking up pennies and nickels and dollars and 20s and hundreds, and it's just yours. I absolutely believe that. And if you believe it, this case study, this entire research study says, look, you are more likely to see it. You are more likely to grab it. And I will tell you honestly, my wife is always laughing at me because I pick up pennies, I pick up quarters, I pick up dollar bills, I pick up money on the street, on the sidewalk. Every time I walk into a store, I pick up money like crazy. It just lands in front of me. That is the way the universe works with me. And I absolutely, it's not that I'm on the lookout for it, but my senses, my reticular activating system in particular, that's one of the things it prioritizes. Free money? Yeah, okay, sure, right, give it to me. It's mine. It's always meant to be mine. So that's part of being a creator, right? Training your mind to prioritize the things that you actually value is part of being a creator. Because when you value that, when you tell your mind that you value those things, then you start to recognize them because the reticular activating system kicks in and supports you. That's its purpose. That's its entire purpose, to support you in the things that you choose to believe and value and create in your life. It is part of the focusing mechanism of your mind. So the flip side of that, because we are creatures of contrast, right? There is some studies that show that the signals of a negative signal to your brain are 5 times stronger than a positive signal. And in the days long past where you would have to run from a saber-toothed tiger or, look out for a woolly mammoth or T-Rex, and I'm joking because I know that, humanity wasn't on the same time as T-Rex, but, time travel. In times long past like that, you needed to stay active as a caveman, Neanderthal, limbic, I want to say lizard brain. As a lizard brain, you had to look out for any kind of danger that would show up, pop up out of nowhere, and get ready for fight or flight. Right? You had to take off. And we developed community. We developed the idea of culture and community of people togetherness because we realized that we were stronger together to fight off those sorts of threats, which meant that the fight or flight response, gained new abilities. Fight or flight or freeze. Freeze is a pretty automatic one, actually. That's when the tigers actually get you. Sorry. But fawn became a communal, community-driven response to the fight or flight response. But the problem is that when you are so sensitive to the negative, the subconscious and unconscious parts of the mind tend to focus on that rather than what you want to create. And even when we say things to ourselves, when we think that it's a really positive statement, it ends up being sort of reflective because it requires an extra unconscious toe into the waters of negativity. For my future, right? I'm going to be thin. I'm going to lose weight. Yeah, that's a toughie, right? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose weight. This is something people tell themselves all the time. I'm going to lose weight. And in our society, I talked about this yesterday, we are essentially trained that we are not enough, that we are broken in some way, that we have to constantly fix ourselves. And capitalism really supports that by offering all of the products, services, niches, devices possible so that you can continue to fix yourself in all the ways that you are told you are broken. So I need to lose weight. Well, we think that that's a positive thought. I'm going to lose weight. Great, that is a positive thought. I am going to lose weight. Suddenly your mind goes, wait, we've got a problem. Because if I lose weight, that is losing something. And I don't want to lose anything. It's hard to hold on to what I've got already. I've been in a pandemic for 18 months. I feel like I've been trapped inside. I don't want to lose anything else. That's tough. Because that's your subconscious mind thinking about loss, thinking about honestly grieving because you lose something, lose a lot of weight. You're telling your mind that A, you're broken, that something is wrong with the way you are now. You're also telling your mind that you desire it to become essentially ill because you want to lose, like me, I'm in the process of becoming a thinner, svelter, amazing guy, right? But when we focus on losing weight rather than becoming the thing that we want to become, that's programming towards the negative, and it's a tricky one. And this is that Buddhist concept of desire and suffering going hand in hand, because the things that we desire for the future, the things that we desire for ourselves, for our vision, for our family, for life, we often desire those because we identify an aspect being broken, being not enough, being needing to change. And when we anchor on that need, we are anchoring in the negative, and we are actually attracting more of the negative because the subconscious mind argues. It doesn't want to feel loss. It doesn't want to feel dread. It doesn't want to feel ill. It doesn't want to feel vulnerable. And a lot of the things that we tell ourselves are wrong, so we need to fix it for the future, become that. They become that. And what happens is this sets up for the energy. There's three different types of universal energy. I've talked about this a little bit before. The three different types of universal energy. One is a static energy, a stagnant energy. So that's you kind of going, okay, I give up. I'm not going to do it anymore. You hit the wall. Things don't change, right? And sometimes that could be the work that you're in. That could be the work that you're doing. That could be how you're feeling about life. But it could be how you're feeling about your friends, about yourself, just about your goals. And when you hit that energy, you want to move past it. You want to go into the next step, but something is holding you back. Something in your unconscious, subconscious is fighting against your conscious mind. And the unconscious, subconscious piece of you is way stronger than that conscious mind. Because the subconscious is not just entertaining you with memories and thoughts and songs and movie quotes and all the different things that pop up when you're doing everything all around the world. Your subconscious and unconscious mind are controlling your body. They're regulating all of the stuff you never think about. They regulate the memories in and out of the body tissues. They regulate the proteins that cause you to move forward. They regulate the energy and the source of who you are. That's a whole lot of stuff. And they're super powerful. And the thing is that the subconscious and unconscious mind don't really have language, which makes it trickier because they go off of feelings. And when we talk about feelings, feelings are, those core things. This is a feeling. I feel my hand. I feel wind on my skin. I feel a reaction inside of me because of sensory inputs. I feel angry. I feel hungry, right? And as soon as you start naming them, they move out of feelings. They move into emotions. They move into thoughts. They move into aspects of you that are managed by the neocortex, the newer brain, the more logical center of the brain that's sitting on top of all that old programming. If this were a computer, if your brain was a super powerful computer, that limbic brain is the processor. It's down in its core. It is actually functionally managing, talking with on every moment all of the cells in your body, all of the proteins, regulating stuff back and forth, because your emotional response is regulated by proteins. How you react to situations is regulated by proteins and hormones. It's also speaking with all the viruses and bacteria and parasites and everything else inside of you, because that's part of your cellular community. And a lot of that is actually what's keeping you alive. You ever have to take antibiotics? You know how that feels in your gut when you flush out all of your microbiome. That stuff is in there helping you digest. You are not just cells and a body and this. You are a community of life going on inside of you, working together, keeping things moving. Even the viruses that you get are part of life and part of this evolution and change of the world being. So when things are stagnant, it means things aren't changing. It means you're stuck. It means something needs to change because there is a conflict between conscious and unconscious. There is a conflict between wants, needs, desires, imagination, goals that is not aligned in your life. Second type of energy is, I'm going to call it pendulum. I keep calling it pendulum. There's a couple different words for it. Oscillating, right, is a word for it. It kind of goes back and forth. I've talked about this before. When you want change, when you desire change, and you work your butt off, right? It's always working your butt off, because that's how the pendulum gets going. That's the energy for it. You want something. You are here in your current reality. You want to go to your desired reality, whatever that is, and you work your butt off to get there. You fight for it. You argue for it. You push for it. And you get there. You eventually get there, or you're darn close to there. And then without you even knowing it, without even representing what's going on, somehow you slide back. Something happens in life, the universe, and everything that just slides you back to the current reality position. And a lot of this has to do with your perception of yourself, your identity, who you are versus who you want to be. Because those two things, when you're dealing with that pendulum energy in the universe, are not the same. The subconscious, the unconscious is looking at who you want to be and saying, but that's not us. And the closer you get, the more you work for that, that's not us. And if you're not doing the work, the foundation, the mindset, the brain training, the mind training, if you're not doing the work to actually shift you into that reality that you want to be living, then you're gonna slide back, because your unconscious, your subconscious, your reticular activating system is literally telling you, that's not us. I don't want to be there. I know you keep pushing for it, but we're gonna pull you back to a point where we are safe, where we are familiar, and where we think we belong. And that's really the subconscious's motivation, to keep things familiar, because the familiar to the subconscious means safe. The familiar creates a foundation where fight or flight doesn't need to take charge and go out and charge other things. Doesn't need to work quite as hard. And at the same time, our brains go hyperactive in those sorts of states, especially when sliding backwards, especially, and things happen. Things just happen. That's life, right? And we deal with it however we need to deal with it. And as we slide back, that's when depression kicks in. That's when anxiety kicks in. When we see the goal that we want to get to, and we are pushing and struggling and hustling and fighting to get there. We're not doing the inside work. The inside work. We're not doing that, and so it slides back, and that pendulum really honestly just keeps going back and forth and back and forth. That's the chase. That's that weight loss yo-yo. That's the career chase when you get really close and then something sabotages it and you crash. That's people who have experienced self-sabotage. They don't intend to, but they open their mouths to say something, to put their position, to create boundaries, and they slide back because it's not who they are at a fundamental level. And if they were that at a fundamental level, if they had created the life that they want, if they were themselves true 100%, if their identity was true and their identity remained the same as they traveled toward that successful future, that is creative motion. That is creativity in action. That is the creative life, the creative spirit. When you embrace who you are and you project that future, I love people who visualize. I absolutely love people who visualize because you are super creative. And when you are super creative, you are imagining things that are not yet here. And when you imagine the things that are not yet here, you are literally tapping into the quantum field. Super consciousness. This idea that everything everywhere is a possibility. It absolutely can happen for you, and it is there for you. And the more that you tap into that vision, you are literally creating quantum entanglement with your neurons, with the network of neurons, with the electrons that are in there, with the universe around you. And when you focus on that, you are telling your reticular activating system, move toward this. And every little step along the way, I want you to continue to show me all of the steps, all of the things will continue to lead me into the future that I desire while being myself. I don't have to change. My subconscious doesn't need to fear this change of my identity. I am still me. I am true to who I am, who I need to be, who I want to be able to reach that future, that desired reality. And that's really the trick of being the creator, right? To acknowledge, really, that we have to embrace, one, the goodness of who we are, right? And when we look at the things that are troubling us, realize, because this is the huge challenge. Realize that there are fundamentally things that we believe about ourselves that have been put in our heads, that put in our culture, put in our way of being, that slows us down from really grasping everything that is possible for us. And that tells us our identity is broken. Because when we try to figure out who we are, we look outwards. When I say things, I look for someone's response to what I say, and I judge their response to whether what I said was successful or not. I am literally judging my identity and the ideas that I present based on the mirrored response back to me. You know, we have these things called mirror neurons, and this is essentially what they do. They help judge people around us, critique people around us, contrast our ideas with what we believe we know about them and their world and their situation and the way they should react with how we want to have the reaction back. And you know what? That's when I say everybody's a universe and you don't really know anybody. You can't predict, really, how someone is going to respond to you. And however they respond should have very little bearing on how you feel about yourself. You're not broken. You are enough. You are worthy to say the things that you want to say, to feel the things that you want to feel, need to feel, just feel. You have the space to be you. You have the right to be you. You have the authority to be you and to share whoever you are on any given moment with anybody else. And the thing is, they're gonna critique, they're going to judge, they're going to throw the wall at you, potatoes. They're gonna throw potatoes at you. And the reason is because that's what the mind does. It's a protection mechanism. You're not like me because here's the differences I see in you. I don't want to listen to you because here's the differences I see between what I believe and what you believe. Therefore, you're wrong. Well, that's just bullshit. Pardon my language. So here's the thing. All it takes, really, is getting down a little bit to your true goals. The best example. Do you want to lose weight? Or do you want to start living a life of health and vigor? I like that. I want to live a life of health and vigor. The way I phrase that, I'm living that now. I don't want to fix bad things in my life. I enjoy every moment of every day being me and sharing the things that I know with you. The great thing about those values, the great thing about those goals is they're not just out in the future. It's not something you work towards. You just be it. Within the context of your own life, you aren't changing an identity, you aren't shifting things, you're just changing the way that you talk to your mind. And the subconscious mind works on repetition. The more it hears something like that, the more it thinks something like that, the more it rests in the positive aspect of life that you are creating, the less it fights back against all the things you don't like. And that is being a creator. Looking at your life the way you want it to be, but the way that it can be now, and you keep living it. It becomes part of the process of being just joyful. I live a joy-filled life. My mom would be proud of that. That makes me happy. All right, guys, that's it for me today. My name is Jeremy Tank. Look up my website, thinktankcreative.net. If you have questions, write a comment below, like, share. Eventually, I'm actually starting up a YouTube channel, so I'm going to be transferring all of this stuff to my YouTube channel and doing a little bit more produced kind of videos, mostly because I want to draw, I want to show you guys with diagrams the things that are going on in my head, the things, like all of these things I'm discussing that are sort of esoteric and a little bit difficult to describe. I want to be able to draw them for you or show you pictures to really demonstrate, I'm a visual guy, so to me it demonstrates more thoroughly the ideas, the concepts, the foundation, because here's the deal, you can be and do and manage anything. You can create anything. You are in a terrific space, a terrific time where you can create anything if you give yourself the foundation. And the first foundation has to be your mind. It has to be how you are talking to yourself, about the world around you, and everything that you love. And start loving it. Start having fun with it. Start laughing at it like it doesn't matter. Just, it has to be childish a little bit. Simple, right? You were an incredible imagination machine as a kid. I'm sure of it. It's time to put that to use now. Because the more that you can create that sense of imagination and fun and play and start playing in your life, that's the point that you're going to start living it. Thank you so much. I love you. Have a great weekend. Bye.